Okay, just a random guess. They're going to do all this, feel real proud about their victory here, go back and the village is going to be dead. Well, the army's on the move. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Ray. You want to introduce yourself one more time?
Hello everybody, it's Ray from R Nights. Thanks for being with us. Glad to be here, sir.
All right, we're back from episode 1 into episode 2. Obviously, we're recording a number of these back-to-back, so whenever I start these and say we've got a board and some notes or whatever, that'll be when I have deeper thoughts. But I was just thinking, before we start recording, I probably am going to have to keep track of the mythology from the aspect that it appears to be real. The green dragon's in the mural, and the green dragon is in the labyrinth. And I was thinking to myself when the green dragon shows up, I don't remember which side of the battlefield the green dragon was on.
I think it was on the left side of the mural.
Oh, no, I know it was on the left side. The right side is the green. Is it the goddess? That's what I meant. Which side it is. It was fighting for, because I think if you take the mural as the example, that we saw one of them charging from the left and we saw one of them charging from the right, and that then would denote who's fighting on whose side. And then I think, well, obviously, if the guy wearing the black armor, I forgot what the M name was.
Marjo, I think it was
Marma?
I know she was the Earth goddess, nature goddess, something to that effect.
Well, no one else starts with an F. I meant the country name that the other two countries fell to. Because obviously I think that's going to be the one with the red dragon, because that was the goddess. I thought they said two goddesses, but I guess god of destruction.
Yeah, there is,
which would be the red dragon side.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know we have the goddess, that she's like the Earth goddess, and then there's the
Earth like Phyllis, like Philas or something like that. I don't know if it was Earth goddess. I just remember one was the creation and the other one was a destruction. I'm pretty sure. Again, this is stuff I'll come back with notes.
I think they say it every beginning of the episode anyway, so they're going to repeat it over and over.
It's going to be one of those. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, I watched so many anime where that's the thing, at least for the beginning. Like Gundam Wing. I know I just brought it up Gundam Wing, but Gundam Wing always, like, for the 6 episodes so far, I start off, Earth, the humans went into space with great expectations. Good old minute and a half.
They want you to make sure you know it.
Yeah, Macross always goes into like the history of the Space War 1 every episode after SDF Macross. So yeah, kind of used to that, but eventually I hope it wears out, because only so often I can hear what the history was over and over again. And not for nothing, we got the intro, and then they said it again in the episode.
They did. And we're going to see it again in the beginning. Like, they're going to break that whole thing out. So we're going to see the mirror right now anyway. So we're going to just know.
So yeah, no point in trying to remember if I'm just going to get told again.
Unless we want to place a bet? I think we want to place a wager.
On what?
Left or right? I think it's left.
For which one? The green?
The green dragon.
Well, I already agreed with you. I mean, I already agreed with you. There's no point placing a bet.
But I don't believe myself. I don't trust myself. But anyway, we'll find out.
I don't know. Used to do bets on this channel before where like, how much you want to bet on the thing that's going to happen? And like, okay. And then we would watch an episode of whoever won an anime that they wanted to watch. So that's the only reason I got some people to watch Tower of Druaga on the channel before. School Live. God, I can't remember the name of the show where people die and they have to play games in the afterlife.
What the heck? That's not...
Well, it's one of the people really like the opening, because it's like, imagine that, but it's like a bar setting, because they're all dancing around a bar essentially, and the show is not like that at all.
See, that's the incredible thing about anime, that you could do things like that, and get away with it. I think anime is the only format or media that you can get away with something like that.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I think you could do that with anything. Well, anything with a visual medium, that is. Maybe not movies, but TV shows.
But it won't be accepted as much as you see in anime. Like, wait, that's kind of confusing, or that's kind of weird. And the story sometimes you get from anime is usually like, how can I put it? is so creative that sometimes you can only have it on anime. It makes sense that that's on anime. That's animated from and that type of story. You can get away with that more in anime than you can, I think, in the media.
I mean, it might just be accepted norms from people who already watch anime.
Well, think about that. Well, I guess, but the idea of thinking that you're dying and then you're going to be spending the afterlife playing games, like, when do you come up with that? When do you show
I
that?
thought we were
That's
talking about the
amazing,
element
you
of
know?
openings being different from the show. I thought that's what you were
Well, but
talking
that too.
about.
Well, that too. I'm just saying, anime has so many ways that it should. There are things in anime that I still think are going to be done in anime. You're saying that the opening could be very different and other mediums.
They're constantly trying to convert anime into live action stuff. So clearly that's not even true.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. It never worked. How many times you see live action anime and it's like, ugh, what am I watching? Why are we doing it? I mean, did you sit down and watch Attack on Titans live? No one did.
Yeah, I mean, no, actually, I really liked Detective Conan. Detective Conan is a good anime, like second longest running.
Is there a live action for it?
Yeah. Well, there's a live action television show and like 3 movies unrelated to each other. The movies are unrelated to the TV show. Also, I should point out that Detective Conan is about a kid, or sorry, he's like a teenager who gets given a drug that turns him into a child. But he was a detective as a teenager. Now he's a detective child who has to fake solve mysteries, whatever. But he's also hunting for who did that to him and how to turn him back. But the TV show is teenager him, and the movies are teenager him. So you don't have to watch a little kid as your main character.
Okay.
But they're really good. But I mean, that's just on the back of mysteries, right?
Oh, I'll take a look at it and see what you're talking about and see. But, well, again, if you say it worked well. But it doesn't happen often. I'll tell you that right now. That's a unicorn you're talking about.
I would argue that it happens more often than video game to movie.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that statement 100%. But usually, I mean, look what Disney's doing. Disney's trying to do their live action too in those cartoons, and it's not really doing well. You know, they're better in the format they originally came out of.
Well, the thing is that I watched those as a kid, and I have no interest in watching those things as an adult. So it might be more of a matter that they're pandering to nostalgia that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but it's still bad. It's just bad. It doesn't look good. It doesn't come off well. I wish they would do something more creative and just make a new show for people that age. You know, and if you're gonna do nostalgia,
I don't think they're making it for that age. I think they're making it for our age.
I know, but I'm saying, but even then, I think people like myself, maybe you don't like to watch the animation. I love watching animation. So I wouldn't mind sitting down again and watching Beauty and the Beast again, or My Little Mermaid, or I don't mind.
What are we doing here?
But I'm saying,
I don't think you like watching animation.
But you just said you don't want to go back and watch those. You don't want to go back and watch Beauty and the Beast.
I'm talking about watching live action stuff. They're making this off of the nostalgia you felt as a child for watching it. I liked Beauty and the Beast as a kid. I probably liked the live action Beauty and the Beast. That's what they're counting on. I don't think they're selling the live action stuff for kids today.
But I'm saying they've had so many misses that I'm shocked that they still do them, because it's if anything, it's hurt the brand.
I don't know that it's hurt the brand. I don't think anybody cares.
Dude, I think it's hurt the brand quite a bit. There was a moment.
The element is that you can't take away,
and it was like a big thing, and it was with reverence. They spoke about Disney, and now people mention Disney and like,
well, one, that's just the times that we live in. They talk about Disney because certain people are assholes, and Disney represents a certain state of mind to some people that they don't want existing in our country anymore. I don't think it hurts the brand because I don't think anybody cares. Like, the people that really care are not the same people as the general public. Like, you're not walking around in your day-to-day, God damn it, Disney's making another live-action movie. It's probably, you see an advertisement for something, and it's like, oh, wish that didn't exist. And then you move on. The people that are, typing up news articles about how, I don't think they're your general public.
One, and I get you. But I do think that but still, I'm like, I get upset at Disney for not doing something more creative. To me, Disney's always been creative. are unable to do that. I wish they go back. Honestly, I wish they would go back to like 2D drawings, animation stuff for movies, and give us a brand new story instead of just rehashing stuff they've been doing for over and over and over again. So that's just where I feel.
I mean, I might care if I had like only one channel and it was the Disney Channel, but I've got options. Disney can do whatever the hell it wants. If they make something that's interesting, cool, I'll be there. But otherwise, I'm not your entire audience.
I don't know.
Like, it'd be the disappointment I would have if, say, I was watching a cool sci-fi show about people that are robots disguised as actual humans, and then they had a writer's strike or something and ruined the ending of the show.
Shut up. You're the worst. You're the worst.
Look, not my fault. I couldn't find Waldo in that hidden genius picture.
All right. Sorry, I did.
I ain't granted, sure. I put you in the bathtub and I'll plug you up into a bunch of wires and you'll find the way home.
It shows you that we have a different perspective for sure.
Yeah, well, no, I knew that. I already knew that. But I mean, that's the benefit, right? That's the benefit because it was the same opinion in stereo. It wouldn't be very much fun. All right. Episode 2. I guess we're going to be in the labyrinth still. I mean, I don't really know what else to anticipate here. If I was to extrapolate from episode 1 what I thought the rest of the show would be, it would be Dungeon Master and Witch Lady looking into a crystal ball, watching these people go through a labyrinth. Because it's a D&D adventure, right? It's essentially two people commentating, one representing good, one representing bad. And I guess, good guy supports the heroes on their adventure. Evil witch lady. Maybe I'm describing an 80s cartoon now.
Well, you gotta understand too. I think during this time, this type of fantasy, fantasy like this, it was still like becoming something. Like it wasn't as in depth as it is today. So that's why I think you see like the elf being with the big ears and being cliche, or Gimli being strong, or you see the thief on it. Like it's very foundational as opposed to like being drawn out and being different in terms of character. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't really know because I can't really think off the top of my head many early 90s, they say late 80s fantasy. Like Berserk was even late 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying like this is like this. If you're gonna think about the D&D world and why this is formed, it's very cliche. The way the party's formed out, and your good guy versus your bad guy, typical thing.
My problem is I've been watching a retrospective on the Ultima series lately, so a lot of everything that applies here also applies to Richard Garriott creating the Ultima video games back in the late 80s, early 90s.
The one that you could buy that Comp USA.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, they made a deal to sell their stuff there because originally they were putting it into plastic bags and selling it out the back of their parents' garage.
I remember that. I remember those plastic bags.
But yeah, no, the idea that all of that was also inspired by D&D and the Society for Anachronistic. Can't remember the last word. Basically, it's like LARP, but it has its own specific name. It's been around for a lot longer. Anyway, anything else you want to say before we get into this episode?
No, sir. I think we're good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop on in and see what episode 2 gets us.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
All right, let me see who's right or wrong. I thought it came from the left. Let's see.
Well, it's clearly the left then, because there's the red dragon on the right.
Yep.
And we both said it's on the left. Although very clearly that is exaggerating if that's the same dragon.
I don't think it's the same one.
Well, it just meant it was like towering over the battlefield.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be like 20 seconds of the mural, and then we're going to get right into the opening.
Yep.
I say that's even more confusing. Well, I'm used to, I guess, maybe a modern anime parlance that they get
you're gonna get a bunch of angry anime fans who are gonna hate you about what you're saying about the opening.
Oh, I'm not saying anything about the opening. I'm saying everything about the opening draw before the opening. Like watching. Oh, that is very. I guess that's very Lord of the Rings still too. Just, maybe everything reminds me of Flight of the Dragons with this show. No, like SDF Macross. It started right with the opening every single time, all 40 or 30 something episodes.
The same exact one.
Yeah, the same exact opening because SDF Macross was 80s, early 80s. No, late 80s. So I'm having a hard time remembering.
So when did it begin where where anime, like halfway through, they changed the opening? Like that happened a lot nowadays.
Perhaps late 90s. Or maybe early 2000s.
Oh, early 2000s, right? That's what I'm thinking.
See, I don't
know.
know.
I wonder which anime did that.
Maybe when I get to Zeta Gundam, I'll find that out if it does that, because that would be early 80s. I know original Gundam doesn't change. I mean, I really appreciate modern, where the opening will change constantly. 86, every time a character dies in the show, they go from a photograph in the middle to a field where all the dead characters are.
Mm.
Okay, so we're gonna do this for the first 6 episodes? I forgot how many people were in the party. It's also interesting, because I don't know if normally they do this with dwarves, but he's got knife ears too.
But not as huge.
They don't always give.
Keep them.
Yeah, they don't always give elves giant ears. Sometimes it's just like
do.
Vulcan ears.
The elf we saw here has those big giant ears.
I guess dragons are just all over the place.
A blue one this time. Is that blue?
That would be lightning. No, what I meant by 6 times is like the flashback we got to Parn with the King's Conference, that everyone's motivations are being shown to us.
Yep.
Is this going to be sorry, Nell? Just heard her name. Well, because I'm thinking Tessia. The Tessia is from the first episode.
Lilia?
Yeah. Well, the fact that they're giving us it in red color makes me think she's going to die. That is just a nightmare. Or happening right now. I guess the element I'm going to be very confused about is when now is. This is very clearly a flashback, because Parn is currently in the dungeon. Maybe that's why they're fighting you. That attitude. Yeah, my guessing is not going to come to fruition here. I thought the dwarf was going to show up.
And I'm trying not to say anything. I promise. It's a lot I want to say. But I know I'm going to spoil it. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, the cleric. Not my guess at all. That is a name.
Ato. Parn, Ato. Gim?
I mean, yeah, they're all one-syllable names.
Except for Woodchuck.
I just don't know what the cleric does if you believe the gods all killed themselves. Or if gods are literally giving you powers, how do you believe God's dead? Sorry, a lot of the times the art is amazing, but when we were panning over the crowd there's a guy in the back who had basically just dots for eyes and a mouth.
It's a budget. It's a budget to keep, you know?
Look at that guy on the right. What's going on with his face?
I don't know why this guy being a dick like this, but
well, it follows with the king's thing. Like mother, like father, like son. And then Thessia, as we heard from the last one, it's the son of Thessia. Break another stick? I don't feel like they're being unreasonable, but at the same time, I don't think they're being realistic.
yeah, and at the same time, he has this attitude of later. He wants to help. He wants to do something.
I think he wants to be a hero, but he's not acknowledging the fact that he's putting the entire town in danger.
Well, even in the first episode, you saw he ran up to the dragon and fought the dragon one-on-one. Like, there's something about him where he needs to do something.
He certainly one-on-one the dragon. I wouldn't call that fighting it. Well, at the very end, he did the killing blow. You might also appreciate Grimgar, Fantasy, and Ash.
Fantasy and Ash?
Group of people get transported to a fantasy world. Amnesia, if they don't even remember the regular world. But the entire time they're just trying to fight goblins. Like, what does a normal person do in a fantasy world with no powers or anything? I mean, it's either that or I'll bring up Goblin Slayer, which is heavy on the SA.
I saw a couple episodes and it was okay. I wasn't crazy about it.
Well, I said the dwarf was going to show up. Not where I thought he would show up.
No, you told you don't say, but yeah, he showed up.
So I was right, there was 6 people. Because these two, there's the other 2, and then there's the elf and the thief.
The thief. Woodchuck.
Well, this has got to be like 2nd edition D&D, right? So
I would say.
So Parn is the fighting man. Well, if he's the wizard, then... I mean, it would make more sense if he was a cleric. Cleric would have any use for books. So I feel like episode 1 established what they were like in a fight. Or in the field, rather. Episode 2 is now what they're like in their day-to-day.
Their day-to-day, yeah, correct. Who they are, what motivates them.
And she is not too far from where Parn lives, apparently.
But she's a whole army move.
Well, yeah, I mean, they established that the goblins are gonna get revenge for their man.
There was a lot of
And then we saw them
army
organizing back in their hovel. Don't know what that implies. But he ran away. He died running away. I mean, the classic thing is to find out what they say about your father is true, or prove it to be untrue.
Mm-hmm.
He must have died running away. How else did his armor get back? It's the Black Pearl thing, right? Nobody sees the Black Pearl and lives. How do you know? Survivors told.
But still, regardless of his father was a coward or not, you hear that as a kid. You know, it's gonna motivate. It's gonna drive you somehow. That's probably what's driving him to be the way he is.
It depends, doesn't it? If his father was never there, then he might not have any attachment to his father.
No,
he might be
angry
angry that his father wasn't there.
But I think he wants to get like.
Well, never mind. He's showing us right now.
know? But I do think, though, the way people are treating him and talking about his father is probably adding fuel to the way he makes decisions.
The shadow of that guy's face kind of looks like the other king during the meetup.
Are you right?
Which wouldn't make any sense to the king's conversations between each other. Because that guy would certainly know who Parn was. Is this a good idea? Certainly nobody gives a shit if Parn leaves. Parn's nobody to them.
The village seem to care.
Yeah, but is this like the only cleric of the village? You leave on an adventure and nobody, like, people start dying of ordinary wounds.
I think the cleric just got back from a pilgrimage. I think he said that earlier.
4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Hope you weren't waiting for him to come back. That not coming back again. Okay, just a random guess. They're gonna do all this, feel real proud about their victory here, go back and the village is gonna be dead. Well, the army's on the move. Or I guess they could rush back to the village and save everybody. Seems unrealistic, but...
Absolutely. Had they been there, he would have died. They both would have died.
Well, I don't know. If it's supposed to be their big victory to show everybody that, hey, I can do this. Also, unnecessary use of the hurricane spell. Yeah, see, like I said. Realistic thing is that you're out of position. And these people, as I said, not unreasonable, but unrealistic.
Would you blame this on him? If they had
I
that
don't
many
blame
goblins,
him,
they
no.
probably were planning this to do this.
I blame the elf.
For not saying anything.
Yeah, she saw everything coming and decided to go rush off to the other guys that weren't here. What do you think makes their clothes?
The goblins?
Yeah, because I assume the leader really decked out. Or do you think he got lucky and killed another leader who was exactly his size?
And just took it. It could be that. I don't think these guys are known for designing clothing well.
They appear bewitched. I don't know, I just assume that goblins act this way. I wouldn't assume that they're bewitched.
No, remember they mentioned before that they only come out at night. So maybe the fact they're out there during the day.
Oh, I thought they were doing the revenge thing that the other person said. For revenge for killing their man. That they were driven to this. Yeah, but are they gonna like wake up and be like, "Oh, thank you," or are they gonna be like, "Oh, more murder"?
Guys, now we kill you easily.
Twice. I had to save her twice in one episode. I do appreciate how they build up the tension and don't pull any punches. So the goblins have doctors. He got stitched.
From the star?
Yeah, he got stitched.
He's obviously way over his head.
I don't know. Dude's windmilling it. That's not the move of a fighter.
Yeah, but he's
Take
fucking
one
him up.
step. Hart takes one step back. He'd be fine. Also, you're a magic user. Cast some magic. Hold person. It's like level 1. I've seen this on Thundercats. No, He-Man. Sorry, He-Man would be the one. Grant him sight beyond sight.
The Sword of Omens.
Again, not for nothing, but this guy was also not being mind controlled, apparently.
No, he wasn't.
He also didn't seem like a wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock or anything, so I don't think he was controlling them either.
I don't think he was either. And also, I don't. Maybe the spell the wizard cast was in a certain group. I don't think he was able to get everybody. He was on the roof.
Seemed like he got everybody in town. And this guy was also in town, so... Oh, that's why you're bringing up, is it Parn's fault? Yeah, I guess agreeable. Yeah, it's probably Parn's fault. He killed the goblin that inspired all the other goblins to come to town.
But I think them pushing him and talking about his father is what's making him who he is right now, making these decisions.
So you're saying they're improving him by mocking him?
No, I think he's looking for vindication for his father.
I'm just saying that you're indicating that they're mocking his family causes him to become a hero.
Yeah, I think so.
So you're saying it's good to bully some people?
Yeah, of course. I do it to my kids all the time.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what the Reverse Flash does, right?
No, but
he gets the guy's mom arrested and everything. He makes his life worse to make him a better hero.
I definitely saw it. He was looking through the chest, the armor, the sword. And he was hearing the flashback, disgraced father.
Look, like I said, the village people aren't wrong. I mean, the people of the village aren't wrong.
I wouldn't. Yeah, they're not wrong. I would, if I was in that same boat, I'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing? You're gonna get us all killed." And he almost did.
And to be fair, I'm happier that they took out their anger with words and not angry village mobbed on him.
They could have.
I mean, by all rights, like, if you think this kid has killed us all.
Well, I think that was the mayor's daughter that he saved too, so that probably helped.
Didn't help everyone that died.
Well, I'm just saying, the mayor probably controlled everybody. Guys, calm down.
You think Slane's a half-elf? He's got real angular features that don't seem like the rest of the humans.
I never thought of that. He could be half-elven.
Oh, then again, she doesn't have the angular features I thought she did either. I mean, in a fantasy world where there's humans and elves, you gotta have a half-elf.
Yeah, you do.
My guy. Well, I've watched Monty Python. I know what's going to happen to me. Beln? Was that his name? Beln? It was a B name.
Do I have it here?
Spain, Beln, something like that. Oh, I mean, that was the Emperor. I don't think the black guy. The black guy. I don't think the Black Knight's name was that. I think it said Beln or Bairn or something like that. It was the Emperor of Malmo.
The Dark Knight? The Black Knight?
I mean, unless my guy here is the Emperor, in which case, kudos for me for picking the guy high ranked. I do typically pick somebody high ranked too. Had myself drawn as the Supreme Commander of Xeon for Gundam.
But what do you think about the second episode as opposed to the first one?
I think it would have been a better first episode.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like. That's why I found it weird. To me, the show started at this episode. I didn't think we needed the first episode at all that we got.
I mean, I understand what they're doing, but at the same time, I don't know. You need to pick one or the other.
Do you think it's marketing? It's a marketing thing.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think this part it was?
Full Metal Alchemist has a first episode that seems completely opposed to the rest of the show. Not opposed. It doesn't make sense. It's a guy who's like, we got to take down the government, and they fight him, and like they're already full-on alchemists. And then, second episode, you go back in time to when they're kids and see the inciting incident and how they became who they are. It's very off-putting, but at the same time, Full Metal Alchemist is like one of the most popular anime around. So,
yeah, but you don't think they have like a test audience before they bring it out?
No.
And this is what they bring out.
See, ahead of time, no. No, I don't think they're doing test audiences with anime.
I don't know.
To all the
I don't know.
seasonal reviews, anime reviews that I do, where I watch like 50 trailers back to back and like pick the top 10 and have the audience vote on which of the top 10 I'm going to watch, I would say that it feels like they're crap shooting a lot of times. Like,
Then
what
would
was
you think the
successful
purpose
last year? Okay, let's make any infinite number of combinations of that.
then? I was just wondering if it's because we know this comes from a manga, right? But I always wonder why episodes like this, where you have the first episode and so much is happening as though it was in the middle of the show.
Wait. You said this comes from a manga. Are you sure? Or did this come first and the manga come later?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I know there's manga for this, and I want to say no. You're right. The manga, if I'm not mistaken, was still being written as this came out, and there's more stories to this. And then this OVA is completed before the manga was completed. So there's elements of the manga that's not all in here. I think that's what I understand from this.
I mean, that's how actually the original Full Metal Alchemist went, and then Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood actually does the manga. Let's see. The novel comes out in 86. Novel series 88 through 93. Well, this was not helpful at all. This is just telling me everything about regular Lodoss War as a thing, not the anime.
As an IP, not the actual OVA.
Anime 1990, Record of the Lodoss War. Manga 1991. So
they're probably being produced side by side.
I guess. Literally, this is not a very informative wiki article. This is 1990, Record of the Lodoss War, 13-episode OVA produced by Madhouse. Love Madhouse.
Well,
and then manga 1991, The Lady of Ferris. 2 volumes. CPM manga.
Maybe the first episode is marketing, and it's marketing also to get people to start reading the manga.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's marketing for itself. Hey, watch this. Here's what the show will be like later. But I don't know that that's the thing. Like I said, I would choose one or the other, not both. You know, not either one is the first episode and continue the story from that position, or the other one is. This is the show. We're in a dungeon. Watch as we crawl through a dungeon, or whatever the rest of the show is actually going to be about. Or, hey, this is our origin. See how we got together, then move on from there. I mean, I don't dislike what we've gotten so far, but then again, this 13 episodes, right? This specific show.
It's not many.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going to be like 6 episodes from now to then have to judge back like, oh man, I wish we had one more episode for such and such to happen, but we're not going to get that. If only we hadn't had that first episode or that second episode the way that we did. Like, the lament will come later, but for now, I've got like no real thing to go off of.
Slow burn, and it'll pick up. But you get it all. You'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to abandon it halfway through.
It is beloved. People do love this anime.
Well, I mean, they love the IP. You're saying that they love the anime. I haven't experienced that.
You don't think
heard it. I've heard the name a lot, but I don't know from where, right? I might have heard it from RPG circles when I'm looking for alternatives to D&D.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, my only equivalent to this would be, have you ever watched Bastard?
No.
Capital
Didn't they do
Bastard,
a reboot on
3 exclamation marks.
Netflix?
Yeah, they did a reboot for Netflix, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, I do know about it, but I've never seen it.
No, it was the first anime I ever bought a physical copy, VHS tapes from
you like
someplace.
that much? Gotcha.
No, I mean, no. I was like literally just wanting to watch anime, and I was like, I can't remember. It was like one of those 3-letter acronym music stores. I can't remember. And I just found anime that was on sale, and I decided to take a chance and bought it.
And look at you now. Completely changed your life.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, just ignore the 6 years that I was streaming tabletop RPGs. So yeah, no, I mean, it was a good episode. Like you said, I appreciate they don't pull punches. They just, like, nearly killed the village. Like, I liked it more when it seemed like the entire village was dead. And then a bunch of people just came out of the woodwork and like, oh, seems like most of this village is still alive.
They would have been dead had it not been for the wizard to cast a spell that he did. I think the village would have been taken out because it was a huge army, and there's definitely not many people. It didn't seem like the village was that big.
Yeah. I just mean from the element of it seemed like everyone was dead. And then, Parn goes and fights the boss of the goblins, and then all the other people come out that were apparently just hiding. From that aspect, I wish they had just killed everybody. Well, no, I mean from a serious take. I'm not just saying that. I'm not like pulling a Julian here or something. Like I want to see bloodshed or something.
Gotcha.
It's hard to take these shows serious sometimes unless they actually pull the trigger on doing a thing. Because otherwise, in the back of my head, I'm always going to be thinking, oh, plot armor, or, hero's going to save the day. If you don't show me early on that the hero can fail, then I'm not going to think that the hero can fail. That it's going to be a full-on fantasy power trip sort of thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just burdened by tropes.
Well, and this is going to be tropey.
Well, yeah, I just mean like, I don't know, having gone through Gundam Seed all the way, the main character can't do no wrong. You can't touch the main character unless the main character wants you to touch him. That sort of heavy plot armor thing. I know all my examples are Gundam, so I apologize. Before we started recording today, me and Les were recording G-Quux, which is the new Gundam show. I don't know. I just need the show to prove to me that people can die. Because if I... Look,
well, I know I get you because it lends some realism to the situation.
I am watching a show called Apocalypse Hotel right now, where I thought it was going to be a melancholic, depressing show. It was like humanity dies in like the first episode. It's about the robots that are left maintaining a hotel at the fall of humanity, and no one's checking in because, of course, there's no one to check in. And then the show turns into like this weird off-the-wall comedy for like 8 episodes in a row. And then last episode, someone fucking dies finally. And it's just like, I'm thinking to myself, was the purpose of the last 8 episodes to introduce us to characters that we would grow accustomed to and like, so that it could then twist the knife in the final and start killing them off and having to deal with then the reality of mortality and whatnot, right? The element of the just the switcheroo, right?
But I also think a lot of these shows are, at least in the beginning, they're trying to find their footing. And sometimes they're just throwing things against the wall, see what sticks. And in this case, you say 8 episodes of comedy. It's maybe a little long, though.
The trailer was very much a different thing than, well, it's even the first episode. First episode dealt with the death of one of the robots, and we see like a basement full of all the robots that have died over the last 100 years or so. And then episode 2, a little bit of comedy, but at the same time, it's also about miscommunication and the difficulties in reaching people, things like that. Like, there could be a subtler narrative. Like, maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I've been in denial for 7 episodes based on how excited I was to watch a show about depression and bittersweet memories and whatnot. But
what's the name of the show?
Apocalypse Hotel.
Apocalypse Hotel.
But yeah, no, there was a connection here I was trying to make.
I'm sorry, I hope I didn't throw you off.
No, you didn't throw me off. I talked about Apocalypse Hotel too long. I forgot what I was trying to... I was making a connective tissue between this show and Apocalypse Hotel based on No, that's right. Last episode in my notes, I was talking about the element of maybe they were trying to get us to connect to the characters so much that when they did finally pull this is what mortality is like and remembering people and having to deal with loss, that it would hit that much harder. And the element therein that I was expressing the fact that even though this isn't what I wanted, I would be sad if these people died because I've been connecting with them all this time. While at the same time, I'm still hoping for that depression ending. I would still complain. I would still complain if the show would comedy the entire way, and I would be happier, ironically, with the depression ending, but I would still be unhappy that I got the depression ending. There's a no-win scenario laying ahead for me. The same thing as I want to apply that to here, right? I don't want these people to die, because clearly I'm not hoping people, even though I side with the bad guys, I'm not hoping that people die all the time, right? But at the same time, I need people to die. Otherwise, I don't know what the stakes are. If there are no stakes, then no one's going to die.
That makes a lot of sense. And I understand where you're coming from in this sense. If the village was wiped out, I wonder if that would have changed the tone of what the rest of the show would have been, as opposed to what we ended up getting, what we ended up getting. You know,
it's like what's coming, so you could make that guess. Let me pitch this to you. Don't tell me anything, of course, spoiler wise, but in the rewrite that I would do for this is it would go. He goes to the thing to live up to his father's expectations, what he expects his father would be like, to try and prove the villagers wrong. He comes back, the village is dead. And then he uses that as the inspiration for, oh God, I've done wrong. They needed me and I wasn't here. And then has to carry that on through the rest of his adventure, that he has to live up to the expectations of the villagers that he failed. Yeah, rather than he saved the day one day. People died, but at the end of the day, he did save everyone. And it seems to put himself into self-exile on a mission of adventure. I would feel more in touch, before you say anything, I would feel more in touch with Parn, the character who failed and then has to prove himself into the world that he is not the guy who failed, that he is the person that his father, that he looked up to, right? Mm. I would be more in touch with that character than, I don't know, like, who we're getting so far.
Well, again, having watched the show, I have a different connection with them. I think because I've, like you said, I'm connected with these guys. I saw them go through what they went through from the beginning to the end, and the idea of the porn we're getting right now, I can understand why we're doing this too. You know, and again, it is that there seems to be something. Well, it obviously was his father, right? And there's that connection of he's very different than everybody else in the village. I mean, he's completely different. Other than the wizard, who I think lives in the village, and the preacher wasn't there. Gim is definitely not from there. Neither is the elf. So he seems to be the only one in that village who gives a shit. And it seems that the village has been complacent, right? To his eyes. So he needs to do something for whatever's happening. You know, he saw a girl in trouble. He went and tried to save her. The best he could, bringing back death and destruction back to the village, right? And so what I'm looking at here is it's just a young, naive kid. He's just naive, and at the same time, having that burden of his father being considered a dishonored or dishonorable or something messed up, and being reminded of that by the villagers. So, and it looked like he lived by himself. Like if he's young, let's assume he's 14, right? If he's living alone at 14 and this is what's going on, and the village is definitely not a place for him.
I mean, the village could be raising him, is the element.
And it didn't seem that way.
I don't know. They came down on him pretty hard, but not in a we're a bunch of random people that are angry at you kind of hard. They only use words.
But I understand your point of view too. But your point of view, I think it'll turn more into, we're looking at Berserk territory. I don't know if it's more of a grim dark series.
What I was painting, well, maybe. Sorry, I don't consider the whole village dying and then him trying to make amends with himself and the world for that. I don't consider that as dark as anything in Berserk. Berserk would go the extra steps. So things would happen to those people before they got killed to get to Berserk territory. Two things that you said I want to address real quick. Does Slain actually live in that village? I didn't think he did. I think he wandered into it.
That what happened because it looked like Gim went to visit him.
Well, it seemed like he lived out by himself, and then they went on a trip, and then they encountered the village.
Okay, I thought it was the same village.
I'm asking. I actually have no idea. It's what occurred to me is I thought they wandered into the village because otherwise Slain would have been part of the dialogue the villagers were having.
How close is that village? Because that happened almost the same.
That's the element that I said at the very beginning of the episode. I'm confused about when now is.
Yep.
And to the other thing that you said is, I mean, it doesn't really matter how old a kid is. If they do something that causes something bad to happen, the guilt still lies upon them.
Yeah, but you also, your age does affect if you're going to stay home or wander out on your own.
Sure. I mean, that still doesn't affect guilt for action. I mean, you can make the argument that understanding of what you've done affects your ability to feel guilt about it, but ultimately guilt is a thing placed upon you, not something that you even have to accept.
Yeah, and I don't think he has any guilt. I just think he's really like, I don't think he's looking at it as though, he's leaving because it's his fault. I don't think that's why he's leaving.
I mean, does that make him a better character? Not acknowledging your own faults? Like,
we are see an arc. We're going to see an arc.
Okay, well, I mean, more so the element that, does he acknowledge that he brought the goblins here due to the course of his actions? Does he recognize that the people that died, at some level, it's his fault?
Well, see, that's where I think this is important that we're discussing this, because we're going to see, we're going to see some an arc with this character. So seeing who he is now and how he ends up, I think is going to be important to our discussions as we go through the show.
Hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
The monomyth, as it were.
Well, especially his, because his is kind of, his is that sense that he is making mistakes. Even when I mentioned earlier, he looked like he was in over his head fighting that one goblin lord, the goblin boss. And if it wasn't for the Parn,
Parn's the guy, Slain, I think, Slayn.
It wasn't for Slayn.
The only name I'm remembering. Or Gimli, because of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and we're calling him Gimli, even though it's Gim, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't for Slayn, excuse me. I mean, it makes your names
Parn and Slayn.
When it was Slayn, he would have died. So he's going in there like he's rash. He's super rash.
I don't know that he would have died if not for Slayn. Clearly he won because of Slayn, but it seemed like he was holding his own. It seemed like he was equal to the goblin boss on his own. But
you think so? That's not what I got.
He was getting cut up, but before Slayn showed up, he then went charging in, clashing blades.
But not once did he hit the orc, the goblin. He was getting hit the whole time.
Well, again, he was just standing there. He took one step back, he would have been fine.
Okay, listen.
The dude is doing a windmill sort of thing at him, and the guy's not moving forward. So all he had to do is take a step back. He would have been outside the radius of the blade swipes.
That could be a budget thing over a story thing.
Look, I don't know, but I'm thinking back to episode 1, and we see him charging in on the dragon before anybody else. Like, they don't form a plan. They don't say, hey, back up, or, whatever. He just rushes in and then gets wiped away, right? And
well, even when the elf got in the trap, he just jumped in and tried to save her. Like, he's quick.
No, he didn't jump in. She gets into the trap, and he's leaning over the edge trying to tell her what to do. She pulls him in.
No, but he ran to her. He was the only one that ran to her to try to save her.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's standing there, let go, just let it go. And she's getting pulled down, and he's like leaning over the edge, just let it go. And he gets pulled in. He doesn't jump. Like, there's a difference there of trying to help somebody and then somebody pulling you into a thing. I would say that's no fault of his own. I am blaming him for rushing in on the dragon, though, because that behooves the same guy who rushed in to save the girl, you say Mare's daughter, from the goblins with no recourse towards what might happen, right? What happens if he rushes in on the dragon and because of the threat the dragon perceives, it just blows fire all over the entire party right in front of it? Many years of playing a main tank in World of Warcraft, he doesn't go around the side to lure its aggro away so that when it like tail swipes or fire breaths, it doesn't hit everybody in front of him. He doesn't seem like he has any thought towards consequence.
I don't. Again, that's what I'm saying. That I think that we're going to see that come into play later on, as though you're going to like a realization of what he's doing.
Why? I mean, I only bring it up because I have no conceit towards how far into the future the labyrinth is. Right? It seems like they've been traveling for a while. They're making jokes with each other and everything. So the element therein is I've got Village Parn, who rushes in with no concept of danger or consequence, and then I have Labyrinth Parn, which seems later, who rushes in with no concept of danger or consequence. That no evolution between the two.
Well, we'll see how it goes on from here. But I do think that we're going to be discussing this character a lot.
Well, yeah, he's the main character.
Yep.
All right. Final thought?
No, that's good. I'm loving it and enjoying it and watching it with you. And
All right. Well, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Ray. We have been Stoneface Reactions. I've been Stoneface. I've been Stoneface Reactions. This has been our nights, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
See you soon, guys.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?